and welcome to Your Choice 2020 General Election coverage right here on HOMTV. I'm Brandy Yates, and joining me for this candidate interview is Melanie C. Lynn, Non-partisan Incumbent Okemos School Board Candidate. Melanie, thank you so much for being here, and at this time, we'd like you to introduce yourself to our viewing audience.
Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Lynn, and I am excited to offer my services as a member of the Board of Education. My husband and I have been a part of the Okemos community since 2007. We are the proud parents of 3 Okemos Public School graduates, 2012, 2014, and 2016. I am an electrical engineer and I have an MBA. I currently work with Consumers Energy managing strategic projects and programs. Additionally, I have experience teaching career and technical education at the high school and post-secondary levels. Board of Education service is a convergence of my passions, service to the community, supporting youth education and development, and effective governance. I am happy to be with you today.
Well, thank you. Each Okemos School Board candidate will be asked a standard list of 10 questions. Let's get started with question number 1.
Okay.
What qualifications do you bring to the Okemos School Board?
I am honored to have served our community as a member of the Okemos Board of Education since 2010. I have demonstrated leadership serving on various committees and in several officer positions, 2 terms as president and 2 terms as vice president of the board. I have also worked with our educational community as we delivered excellence through economic fluctuations that significantly impacted the general fund budget, reconfiguration of schools, school closings, changes in district leadership, district strategic planning, and envisioning and strategically planning our equity journey. I did intend to retire my service to the Board of Education at the end of my term in December of this year. However, there is important governance related to the COVID challenges and outstanding equity-related work that my leadership, my Board of Education experience, and learnings can support. I am committed to this community as we continue to deliver excellence in our Okemos community together.
Question number 2. What do you think are the top 2 services that need the most attention to provide the biggest benefit for students and parents?
Students, educators, and families can derive significant benefits that improve the educational experience in the short term and in the long term, from attention to ongoing equity work and the challenges associated with COVID. I am just passionately committed to the district's equity work. It is important, it is critical, and it is urgent. Current students and faculty, alumni, community members affirm that the equity work remains a critical area of opportunity that challenges Okemos's delivery of an excellent educational experience. And the second service or opportunity that I see are the policies that support planning and transition to the Michigan Return to Learn Phase 5 and Phase 6. That's a basic priority with this pandemic. The educational, social, emotional, and mental health impacts of this pandemic are significant factors that impact our educational experience.
Question number 3, and please bear with me, it is a long question and you have addressed a little of it. Remote learning has become the new normal in many school districts due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How do you think this will impact the future of education? And if elected, what steps would you take to help ensure adequate resources are available and student success continues no matter the circumstance?
Okay, let's take that one question at a time. Okay. The Okemos district has employed a virtual learning model during phase 4, and we are completing plans for a hybrid model during phase 5. The impact of remote learning varies with each student and with each family. The district will definitely be challenged to assess and meet the teaching and learning needs, the social, emotional, and mental health needs of our students. But I will say I am so impressed with the agility and the commitment of our educators to retool and to support student learning needs in this virtual environment. The pandemic has absolutely been devastating, not only with the loss of life and the impact to our physical and mental health, but it has also been devastating to our community. It's resulted in a disruption to our traditional model of educational delivery. The pandemic has definitely identified inequities and disparities in access to educational opportunities. But I'm really heartened that the new strategies are being identified to address these gaps, and research continues to harness innovation for more equitable and relevant teaching practices. The pandemic, the post-pandemic educational systems have the opportunity to be transformational. We are now aware of the central role of public education in our economic and social prosperity of our society. There is a direct connection from the recognition of the central role of public education to valuing the service provided by our public school educators, to perhaps maybe the connection will perhaps give us the outcome of adequate public school funding for programming and maybe adequate compensation for our educators. There's an opportunity there. I think that's transformational. I mentioned that the pandemic has highlighted educational disparities and inequities, not only nationally, but also internationally. It has also called to action new educational stakeholders. We've got technology companies and nonprofits and businesses that are getting involved in supporting student needs in public education, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I think the third part of that question is to address the adequacy and availability of resources. Okemos has just completed a district strategic planning process in which we identified and reaffirmed our values of equity and culture and innovation. The outcome of that work informs the priority for decisions that, if elected, I will continue to make related to the adequacy and availability of resources. Continuing to deliver and practice good governance is particularly important to me. I mentioned that that's one of my areas of passion. That good governance model of effective board service is orderly and transparent policy and decision making, engaging community and especially student voice, and building consensus. And as just to sum up my response to this long question, I would just say that the pandemic, though devastating, gives us an opportunity to address some of the needs that have been identified.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 4. Please comment on how you believe the Okemos School District and the school board should approach new or continued diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts.
I appreciate this question. You will hear some repeats from previous responses, but that is intentional. I mentioned that I am really, really committed to the district's equity work. Important work, critical work, urgent work. The district, as I mentioned previously, has recently approved our strategic plan, and it documents the educational community's affirmation of equity as a continuing priority. Additionally, current students and faculty, alumni, and community members have cited equity as a critical area of opportunity that challenges Okemos's delivery of an excellent educational experience. Okemos has established a governance framework for our equity work. However, it has not been fully operationalized or institutionalized. And moving to what I would call an optimal equity state requires continual work, and I'm committed to that work. Outcomes would include establishing administrative and operational structures for leadership, for accountability, to ensure implementation of our equity endeavors. It would include supporting equity advised teaching and learning with ongoing student and faculty training. It would include enhancing and our learning environment for all of our stakeholders. As I said, that work is important, it's critical, and it's urgent. And I am committed to ensuring that that work is actualized. That's important work. It's critical work. It's urgent work.
Question number 5, another multi-part question.
Okay.
Please address policies regarding safety for kids at school that combat issues such as bullying, violence, and drug use.
As the district's policymakers, the Board of Education establishes policies that address instances of bullying, instances of violence, and drug use. A safe school environment is fundamental to a positive learning experience. In addition to specific district policies, behavior expectations are identified in the student handbooks, the school safety culture, in our school programming, and classroom management practices. Bullying and violence and drug use are unacceptable. Students deserve a safe and positive learning environment. They do.
Question number 6, how can the school district balance the budget and meet the needs of its students and the core curriculum?
Districts are required to approve a balanced budget annually by June 30th. Okemos has been in the fortunate position of enjoying increased student count, and that's resulted in a positive budget position for several years. The approval just earlier this week of the state budget with funding allocations that exceeded the district's assumptions in our current budget, and exceeded our assumptions and our expectations. That really renders Okemos in a better financial position to fund programming and educational support. So that's a good thing for us. That's a good thing. Very encouraged by the recent state budget.
Question number 7. What role do you believe extracurricular activities such as athletics and the arts play in education?
Extracurricular activities balance the educational experience. Involvement in these activities enhance, and they're actually integral to the K-12 experience. Okemos is fortunate to have a very rich offering of athletics and avenues to explore artistic expression. And there's also a very strong network that supports the artistic and athletic communities in the Okemos learning environment. That's encouraging, and it supports that integral and balanced educational experience.
Question number 8. What do you believe is the school board's role in student and/or faculty disciplinary action?
The Board of Education is responsible for district policy, including discipline for students and faculty. Several years ago, the Okemos School Board modified the district's student disciplinary policies to delegate the adjudication of discretionary infractions to move them closer to the level of their occurrence. And our current policy involves the board in some appeal reviews for disciplinary actions that have been taken. These policy changes that I mentioned were made in concert with a philosophical equity advised shift that allows us to employ restorative practices in addressing discipline. That gives us the opportunity to be more student-centered and equitable in terms of the ensuring that disciplinary actions are equitable for all of our students and the related faculty actions that must be taken.
Question number 9. Please address where Okemos stands with college readiness.
Okemos is fortunate to have effective programming that supports college readiness. The district enjoys national and state and local recognition for academic rankings. It's also important for district programming to support and to encourage all facets of student preparation, including trade, vocational, and entrepreneurial opportunities. It's our responsibility as a public school institution to prepare students to contribute to society in their chosen manner. So I would say that we are very effective in our current delivery in terms of college readiness, and we have opportunities to enhance our offerings, our support, and our encouragement for additional facets of student readiness.
Question number 10, and our last of the standard list of questions. What do you consider the top 2 challenges facing the Okemos School District today and in the future?
In addition to equity and social, emotional, and mental challenges that we spoke to earlier, other strategic opportunities would include ensuring that the district is prepared to meet the growth needs of the Okemos community. That's a good thing. And meeting the opportunities or challenges that we are facing and will face associated with facilities and infrastructure improvements. I'm sure the community has been very supportive in similar endeavors in the past. So we're looking forward to being able to work to improve facilities and infrastructure.
And then we do have a few minutes remaining. If I could ask a follow-up question.
Okay, that's fine.
You were talking about inclusion and equity. What would you like to comment about the special education or mental health? You've mentioned it a couple times of students and educators. What kind of programs would you like to see or improved on current programs for those kind of situations?
So you're specifically asking about special ed and any social and emotional learning. So I don't have any specific programs in mind, but what I will say, because that's not really board work identifying the programs, it is making sure that we have identified that as a strategic priority and ensuring that we have allocated the resources appropriately to accommodate those priorities. Ensuring that we've met the needs of all of our students is very important to me. I think that mental health needs are very specific needs that can be addressed, and social emotional learning is an additional opportunity that we have to overlay not only our current programming, but to identify other means that we can help to support our students. And that actually constitutes what you've heard me invoke the term, our balanced educational experience. And that balanced educational experience, to me, means that we are meeting the needs of each of our students the way that they need it. And I haven't invoked the term of educational justice, but I think that we're on a trajectory now for trying to achieve equity and trying to ensure that we've met each of the specific needs of our students. I think that as we approach educational justice, that will be an ideal situation, optimal situation in which we will not have significant barriers to students in meeting their educational needs. So at this point, North is, let's get it to equitable, and our ideal state, our optimal state will be a state where we can meet our students where they are, and the challenges that we know many students have, the barriers to equitable educational opportunities will be diminished. I hope I've answered your question.
You did. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Very good.
We do have a few minutes remaining, and we'd like to give you this time to make your closing statement to our audience.
Thank you, Brandy. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. I am very honored to have served as a member of the Okemos Board of Education for the past 10 years. I am proud of my service. This is good work, and this is necessary work. And I look forward to continuing to work with our community to deliver an excellent educational experience for all of our stakeholders. Each of my children have benefited from the Okemos education that they have received. They're at the place in their lives where they are contributors, positive contributors to our society. And that's what we endeavor to have for not only my children, but for all of our children. And that's the work that I'm committed to do. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today, and I ask for the support of my Okemos community so that we can continue our work to achieve educational excellence. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and I'd like to thank the audience for watching this candidate interview with Melanie C. Lynn, non-partisan incumbent candidate for Okemos School Board. I'm Brittany Yates, also inviting you to watch live general election night coverage on Tuesday, November 3rd, right here on HOMTV. Thanks for watching.